I stood in the church, the soft glow of candles reflecting off the stained glass windows, as the priest blessed my granddaughter, Grace. Her tiny face, wrapped in a white lace gown I'd sewn myself, brought tears to my eyes. At 67, I'd poured my heart into being there for her, just as I had for her father, my son Michael. But as the congregation sang a hymn, my daughter-in-law, Rachel, leaned close, her breath warm against my ear. "Maybe it's time you step aside," she whispered, her voice sharp but low. I froze, the words cutting deeper than the cold church air. My smile faded, and I turned to meet her eyes, but she was already looking away, cradling Grace with a tight smile. That moment shattered something in me, but it also woke me up. I wasn't just a grandmother to be pushed out. I was Margaret, and I'd fight for my place in my family. 6 months earlier, everything seemed fine. I lived in a small apartment in Seattle, filling my days with gardening, book clubs, and weekly visits to Michael and Rachel's house to see Grace, who was just a year old. Michael had always been my rock, even after losing my husband, John, 5 years ago. When he married Rachel, I welcomed her like a daughter, ignoring the occasional chill in her voice. "Mom, you're a lifesaver," Michael said when I babysat Grace, letting them have date nights. Rachel smiled then, but her eyes didn't. I thought it was just stress, new parents, busy jobs. But then I noticed things. Rachel stopped inviting me over as often. My calls went to voicemail. When I did see Grace, Rachel hovered, correcting how I held her or fed her. "She's fussy today, Margaret," she'd say, taking her from my arms. I brushed it off, telling myself I was too sensitive. Then came the day I offered to help with Grace's baptism. I'd spent weeks planning, sewing her gown, even paying for the church flowers out of my savings. "It's my gift to her," I told Michael, who hugged me tight. "You're the best, Mom." Rachel nodded, but her lips were thin. At the baptism, I thought we'd share a joyful day, but Rachel's whisper changed everything. I stood there, the hymn fading, my heart pounding. Why did she want me out? Was it just Grace, or something bigger? That night, I sat in my apartment, staring at a photo of Grace. I'd given so much time, love, money, and now I was being pushed away. I called my sister Joan, who lived in Portland. Rachel told me to step aside. I said, my voice shaking. "At the baptism, of all places." Joan gasped. "Margaret, that's cruel. What's she playing at?" I didn't know, but I was determined to find out. The next day, I drove to Michael and Rachel's house unannounced. My hands shook as I rang the bell. Michael opened the door, looking surprised. "Mom? Everything okay?" he asked. "I need to talk," I said, stepping inside. Rachel was in the kitchen, Grace on her hip. Her smile was tight. "Margaret, this is unexpected," she said. I took a deep breath. "Rachel, what did you mean at the baptism? About stepping aside?" Her eyes flicked to Michael, then back to me. "I didn't mean anything," she said, her voice smooth. "Just that you're always so involved. Grace needs space to bond with us." Michael frowned. "Rachel, that's not fair. Mom's been amazing." Rachel's face hardened. "I'm her mother, Michael. I decide what's best." I felt a knot in my chest. "I'm her grandmother," I said. "I love her. I've done nothing but help." Rachel set Grace in her high chair, her voice low. "You're too close, Margaret. It's overwhelming." Michael looked torn, but he didn't speak. I stared at them, hurt turning to anger. "I paid for the flowers, sewed her gown," I said. "And now I'm overwhelming?" Rachel shrugged. "We're grateful, but maybe it's time you back off." I wanted to argue, but Grace started crying, and Rachel turned away, dismissing me. I left, my heart heavy. Driving home, I realized this wasn't just about the baptism. Something was wrong, and I needed to know what. I started paying closer attention. I checked Rachel's social media, something I'd never done before. Her posts showed a perfect life, Grace smiling, fancy dinners, a new car. But one photo caught my eye. Rachel at a party, standing next to a man I didn't know, her hand on his arm. The caption read, "New ventures, new friends." My gut twisted. Was she hiding something? I called Joan again. "Rachel's acting strange," I said. "And Michael's not standing up for me." Joan was firm. "Margaret, dig deeper. If she's pushing you out, there's a reason." That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing Rachel's cold smile, hearing her whisper. I wasn't stepping aside. I was Grace's grandmother, and I'd uncover the truth, no matter what it cost. I sat on my couch, clutching a cup of tea that had gone cold, staring at the photo of Rachel with that stranger on her phone. My heart felt like it was breaking all over again. Rachel's whisper at Grace's baptism. Maybe it's time you step aside. Played in my mind, each word a fresh cut. At 67, I thought I'd earned my place as Grace's grandmother, but now I felt like an outsider in my own family. I wanted to call Michael, beg him to explain why Rachel was pushing me away, but his silence at their house stopped me. He'd stood there, torn, while Rachel called me overwhelming. Tears stung my eyes. Had I lost him too? I called Joan, my voice shaky. I don't know what to do, I said. Rachel's hiding something, and Michael's not standing up for me. Joan's voice was soft but firm. Margaret, you're Grace's grandma. Fight for her. Talk to Michael alone. The next morning, I drove to Michael's office, a small accounting firm downtown. My hands shook as I parked, memories flooding back. Michael as a boy, running to me with scraped knees, promising he'd always need his mom. Now, I wasn't sure. He was at his desk, looking tired. Mom, what's wrong? He asked, standing up. I closed the door, my voice trembling. Michael, why's Rachel pushing me out? She told me to step aside at Grace's baptism. I'm your mother. I love Grace. His face fell, and he sat down, rubbing his eyes. Mom, Rachel's stressed. Work's tough, and Grace is a lot. She didn't mean it like that. I shook my head, tears spilling. She meant it, Michael. She's keeping me from Grace. And you didn't say a word. He looked away. I don't want to fight with her, Mom. She's my wife. My heart sank. What about me? I asked, my voice breaking. I sewed Grace's gown, paid for the flowers. I babysit so you two can breathe. And now I'm too much. Michael's eyes softened. You're not too much. I'm grateful, Mom. I'll talk to Rachel, okay? But his voice lacked conviction. I wiped my eyes. I saw a photo of her with some man, I said. At a party. She's hiding something. Michael frowned. What? No, Rachel's not like that. She's been working late, that's all. I wanted to believe him, but doubt gnawed at me. Find out, Michael, I said. For Grace. He nodded, but as I left, I felt alone. My son was slipping away, caught between me and his wife. Back home, I couldn't sit still. I opened my laptop, digging into Rachel's social media again. The photo was gone, deleted. My stomach twisted. Why hide it? I found a comment on an older post from a man named Stephen Carter. Great seeing you at the gala. My heart raced. Was he the man in the photo? I searched his name, finding a profile linked to a real estate company. He looked polished, confident. Not someone Michael would know. Was Rachel cheating? Or was it something else? I called Joan, my voice low. Rachel deleted the photo, I said. And there's this guy, Stephen. I think she's up to something. Joan gasped. Margaret, be careful. If she's hiding a man, she'll do anything to keep it quiet. That evening, I drove past Michael's house, hoping to see Grace. The lights were on, but Rachel's car was gone. I parked a block away, my heart pounding, and walked to their backyard. Through the window, I saw Michael with Grace, rocking her gently. My chest ached. I wanted to knock, to hold my granddaughter, but fear stopped me. What if Rachel came back? As I turned to leave, I heard a car pull up. I hid behind a tree, watching Rachel get out, not alone. Stephen Carter was with her, carrying a briefcase. They spoke quietly, her face serious, then went inside. My hands shook. This wasn't just a party friend. I snapped a photo, my heart racing, and sent it to Joan. Look at this, I texted. She called instantly. Margaret, get out of there, she said. That man's trouble. I drove home, my mind spinning. Was Rachel having an affair, or was it business? Either way, she was lying to Michael, and I was the one being pushed out. The next day, I called my friend Linda, a retired lawyer. I need advice, I said, showing her the photo. Linda frowned. Margaret, this guy's tied to shady real estate deals. If Rachel's involved, it's not just personal. You need proof. I nodded, but my heart was heavy. I loved Grace, but digging into Rachel felt like betraying Michael. That night, I got a call from him. "Mom, we need to talk," he said, his voice tense. "Rachel's upset. She says you're spying on her." My blood ran cold. "Spying?" I said. "Michael, I'm worried about Grace. Rachel's hiding something." He sighed. "Mom, stop. You're making things worse." I hung up, tears streaming. My own son didn't believe me. I sat in my dark apartment, clutching a photo of Grace. Rachel's whisper at the baptism haunted me. But so did Michael's silence. I wasn't just fighting for Grace. I was fighting for my family. The next morning, I drove to the library, using their computer to search Stephen Carter's company. What I found made my heart stop. His firm was linked to a scam, tricking older people into selling their homes cheap. My apartment, my savings, everything I had was in my name. Was Rachel after that too? I called Joan, my voice shaking. "I think Rachel's using me," I said. "And Stephen's helping her." Joan was firm. "Margaret, protect yourself. Get to Michael before she does." I sat in my car outside the library, my hands shaking as I stared at the laptop screen. The article about Stephen Carter's company, linked to scams targeting seniors, burned into my mind. My heart felt like it was cracking. Rachel, my daughter-in-law, wasn't just pushing me out of her life with Grace's life, but maybe she was after my apartment, my savings too. At 67, I'd worked hard for my little home, thinking I'd leave it to my son Michael and my granddaughter Grace someday. But now, I was meeting with a crook like Stephen, and Michael didn't believe me when I told him something was wrong. I wanted to cry, but anger kept me strength. Rachel's whisper at the baptism, "Maybe it's time you step aside," felt like a warning now, not just a cruel jab. I needed to protect Grace and myself, but how could I fight a family I loved? I drove to Joan's house, needing her clarity. She opened the door, her face worried. "Margaret, you look awful," she said, pulling me into a hug. I broke down, tears spilling as I told her about my Stephen scam and Rachel's late-night meeting with him. "She's using me, Joan," I said, my voice trembling. "And Michael thinks I'm the problem." Joan held me tight. "You're not the problem, honey. Rachel's hiding something, and you've got to find out what for Grace's sake." I wiped my eyes, her words grounding me. "What do I do?" I asked. "Michael's so caught up in her he won't listen." Joan's voice was firm. "Talk to him again, but get proof first. Something he can't ignore." The next day, that I decided to watch Rachel closer. I parked near their house early, my heart pounding as I waited. Around 9 a.m., Rachel left with Grace, driving to a coffee shop downtown. I followed, staying far enough back to not be seen. Inside, Rachel met Stephen again, his polished suit standing out in the cozy shop. Grace was in a stroller beside them, oblivious, as they leaned close, talking fast. Stephen slid a folder across the table, and Rachel tucked it into her bag. My hands shook as I snapped a photo from my car. What was in that folder? I wanted to march in, demand answers, but fear stopped me. If Rachel was scamming people, what would she do to keep it secret? Back at my apartment, I called Linda, my lawyer friend. "I saw Rachel with Stephen again," I said, sending her a photo. They exchanged a folder. "His company tricks old people into selling their homes." Linda's voice was serious. "Margaret, this could be fraud," she said. "If she's targeting you, your assets are at risk. Do you have a will?" I nodded, though she couldn't see me. "Everything goes to Michael and Grace," I said. "But what if Rachel's after it?" Linda paused. "We can protect your assets, but you need evidence, documents, emails, anything. Be careful, Margaret. She's got a lot to lose." That afternoon, I went to see Michael at their house, hoping to catch him alone. Rachel was out, and he was in the backyard, pushing Grace on a swing. Her giggles warmed my heart, but my chest ached seeing Michael's tired face. I walked over, my voice soft. "Michael, we need to talk," I said. He stopped the swing, looking wary. "Mom, if this is about Rachel, I don't want to hear it," he said. I took a deep breath, tears welling up. "I saw her with a man named Stephen Carter," she said, showing him the photo of my phone. "His company's a scam, Michael. I think she's involved." He stared at the photo, his face hardening. "Mom, you followed her?" he said, his voice rising. This is too far. Rachel's working a side project. She's not a criminal. I felt like he'd slapped me. Michael, I'm trying to protect Grace, I said, my voice breaking. Rachel's pushing me out, and she's lying about something. Don't you care? He looked away, his hands clenching the swing's ropes. I care, Mom, but you're making it hard, he said. Rachel's stressed, and I'm trying to keep us together. Just stop digging. Tears fell as I watched Grace smile, unaware of our pain. I love you, she said, my voice cracking. But I can't love you. I won't let her hurt you or Grace. He didn't answer, just pushed the swing again. I left, my heart shattered, knowing I'd chosen his wife over me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing Grace's face at the baptism, her tiny hand in mine. I'd sewn her gown with love, thinking I'd be part of her life forever. Now I was fighting to stay in it. My phone buzzed at midnight, startling me. It was a text from an unknown number. Back off, Margaret. My heart stopped. I called Joan, my voice shaking. Someone's threatening me, I said. They know I'm watching Rachel. Joan's voice was sharp. Margaret, this is dangerous. Tell Linda and get to Michael proof fast. I forwarded the text to Linda, who replied, This is serious. I'll check into Stephen's company more. Stay safe. The next morning, I drove past Michael's house again, desperate to see Grace. I saw Rachel's car in the driveway, but another vehicle was there, a black SUV I didn't recognize. My gut twisted. I parked nearby, watching as Stephen stepped out, carrying the same folder. He knocked, and Rachel let him in, glancing around nervously. My hands shook as I took another photo. Then I saw something that froze me. A document in Stephen's hand with my name on it. My apartment's address was clear. My heart raced. Were they planning to scam me out of my home? I called Linda, my voice trembling. They've got papers with my name, I said. I think they're after my apartment. Linda was calm but urgent. Margaret, we need to act. I'll draft a protection order for your assets. But you need more proof. I drove home, my mind spinning. Rachel wasn't just pushing me out of Grace's life. She was targeting everything I had. I sat with Joan that evening, tears streaming. I feel like I'm losing my family, I said. Michael doesn't see it, and Grace is caught in the middle. Joan hugged me. You're not losing them, Margaret. You're fighting for them. Keep going for Grace. Her words lit a fire in me. I wasn't just a grandmother. I was Margaret, and I'd uncover Rachel's lies, no matter how much it hurt. I sat in Joan's living room, my heart still racing from the document I'd seen with my name on it in Stephen Carter's hand. The threatening text, "Back off, Margaret," burned in my mind, a reminder that Rachel wasn't just pushing me out of Grace's life. She was after my home, my security. At 67, I felt the weight of betrayal heavier than ever. I'd loved Rachel like a daughter, babysat Grace to give her and Michael time, even paid for the baptism flowers. Now I was a target. Tears fell as I looked at Joan, her face full of worry. They're trying to take everything, I said, my voice breaking. My apartment, my granddaughter, my son. Joan hugged me tight. Margaret, you're stronger than you know, she said. But you need proof to stop her. Something solid. The next morning, I met Linda at a cafe to plan. My hands shook as I showed her the photo of the document. This is fraud, Margaret, she said, her voice low. If Stephen's company is forging papers with your name, we can fight it. I've locked your assets. No one can touch your apartment without your signature. I nodded, relief mixing with fear. What about Grace? I asked. Rachel's keeping her from me. Linda's eyes softened. We'll build a case for visitation rights, but you need evidence of Rachel's scheme. Can you get closer? I swallowed hard. They know I'm watching, I said. I got a threatening text. Linda frowned. That's harassment. Forward it to me. And Margaret, be careful. I left the cafe, my mind spinning. I wanted to see Grace, to hold her and know she was okay. I drove to Michael's house, hoping Rachel was out. My heart lifted when I saw only Michael's car. I knocked, and he opened the door looking exhausted. Mom, what now? He said, his voice heavy. I stepped inside, tears in my eyes. Michael, I'm scared for Grace, I said. Rachel's mixed up with a crook named Stephen Carter. They've got papers with my name, like they're trying to steal my apartment. His face hardened. Mom, you're obsessed, he said. Rachel's not stealing. She's working with Stephen on a real estate project. It's legit. I shook my head, my voice breaking. She's lying, Michael. She told me to step aside at Grace's baptism. She doesn't want me in your lives. Michael ran a hand through his hair, his eyes tired. Mom, you're making this so hard, he said. Rachel's stressed, and I'm trying to hold us together. Can't you just trust her? My heart broke. I trusted her, I said. And now I'm losing you both. Grace's giggle came from the living room, and I turned, desperate to see her. Can I at least hold her? I asked. Michael hesitated, then nodded. I scooped Grace up, her tiny arms wrapping around me. Grandma loves you, I whispered, tears falling. Rachel walked in then, her face cold. Margaret, you can't just show up, she said, taking Grace from me. We're busy. I looked at Michael, hoping he'd speak, but he stayed silent. I left, my chest aching, feeling like I'd lost my granddaughter too. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing Grace's smile, hearing Rachel's whisper at the baptism. I needed proof, something to show Michael the truth. I remembered the folder Rachel took from Stephen at the coffee shop. If I could get it, maybe it held answers. The next day, I waited outside their house, my heart pounding. When Rachel left with Grace, I used the spare key Michael had given me years ago. I felt like a thief, but I had to know. Inside, I crept to Rachel's office, a small room off the kitchen. Papers were scattered on the desk, and I found the folder, labeled Carter Properties. My hands shook as I opened it. Contracts, bank transfers, and a fake deed with my apartment's address stared back at me. My name was forged. I snapped photos, my heart racing, then heard the front door open. It was Rachel. Who's there? She called, her voice sharp. I shoved the folder back, my heart slamming against my ribs, and hid in the closet. Grace's babbling echoed, and Rachel's footsteps came closer. Michael, did you leave the office light on? She said, her voice tense. I held my breath, clutching my phone with the photos. If she found me, I didn't know what she'd do. The closet door creaked and I froze. Must have been me, Rachel muttered, walking away. I waited, my legs trembling, then slipped out when I heard her in the kitchen. Back at Jones, I showed her the photos, tears streaming. They're forging my name, I said. They want my home. Jones' eyes widened. Margaret, this is big. You need to tell the police. I called Linda, sending her the photos. This is enough for a fraud case, she said. I'll get these to a detective I know, Karen Holt. But Margaret, Rachel might come after you. My stomach twisted. That evening, I got a call from an unknown number. You're digging where you shouldn't, a man's voice said. Stephen, I was sure. Stop, or Grace pays. My blood ran cold. I hung up, shaking, and called Joan. Stephen threatened Grace. I said, my voice breaking. I can't lose her. Joan was firm. You won't, Margaret. You're fighting for her, and you're not alone. I clung to her words, but the fear was real. I looked at a photo of Grace, her tiny hand in mine at the baptism. I'd been pushed aside, but I was pushing back, for love, for family, for myself. I sat in my apartment, the photo of Grace on my nightstand blurring through my tears. Stephen Carter's threat, stop or Grace pays, echoed in my mind, each word a knife to my heart. At 67, I'd faced loss before, my husband John's death, the slow drift of friends, but nothing hurt like the thought of losing my granddaughter. Rachel's whisper at Grace's baptism, telling me to step aside, felt like the start of this nightmare. Now I knew she was scheming with Stephen to steal my apartment, forging my name on fake deeds. I'd risked everything sneaking into their house for proof, and still, Michael didn't believe me. My chest ached as I thought of his tired eyes, choosing Rachel over me. I wanted to hold Grace, to know she was safe, but fear kept me frozen. I called Joan, my voice trembling. Stephen threatened Grace, I said. I don't know how to keep her safe. Joan's voice was steady. Margaret, you're not alone. Tell the police, and don't stop fighting. The next morning, I met Detective Karen Holt at a quiet diner, my hands shaking as I handed her the photos of the forged deed. This is serious, Margaret, she said, her eyes sharp. Stephen Carter's company is under investigation for fraud. Your evidence helps, but we need more to tie Rachel to it. I swallowed hard, tears welling. He called me last night, I said. Said if I don't stop, Grace will pay. Karen's face tightened. That's a direct threat. We'll trace the call. But Margaret, you need to stay away from their house. It's not safe. I nodded, but my heart broke. Grace is my granddaughter, I said, my voice cracking. Rachel's keeping her from me. What if she hurts her? Karen's voice softened. We're watching Rachel and Stephen. I'll make sure Grace is safe. Can you get anything else? Texts, emails? I wasn't sure, but I promised to try. Driving home, I felt the weight of it all. Rachel's lies, Michael's doubt, the threat to Grace. I stopped by a park where I used to take Michael as a boy, hoping the memories would steady me. I sat on a bench, tears falling as I remembered his small hand in mine, promising he'd never leave me. Now he was slipping away, and Grace was caught in the middle. My phone buzzed, startling me. It was a text from Michael. Mom, we need to talk. Come over tonight. My heart leapt, then sank. Was this a trick? I called Joan. Michael wants to see me, I said. But after Stephen's threat, I'm scared. Joan was firm. Go, but tell Karen first. And Margaret, trust your heart. You know Michael. I called Karen, who agreed to have an officer nearby. That evening, I drove to Michael's house, my hands trembling. He opened the door, his face pale. Mom, come in, he said, his voice low. Rachel was in the living room, holding Grace, her eyes cold. Margaret, you're causing trouble, she said. I ignored her, looking at Michael. I'm here for Grace, I said, tears in my eyes. And for you. Rachel's working with a crook. They're forging my name to steal my apartment. Michael's eyes widened. Mom, that's crazy, he said, but his voice wavered. Rachel stood, her voice sharp. She's lying, Michael. She's obsessed with controlling us. I pulled out my phone, showing him the photos of the deed. Look at this, I said. My name forged. They're after my home. Michael stared at the screen, his face crumpling. Rachel, what is this? He asked, his voice breaking. She froze, then snatched Grace tighter. It's nothing, she said. She's making it up. But Michael's eyes filled with tears. Mom's not a liar, he said. Tell me the truth. Rachel's face hardened, and she turned away. I don't have to listen to this, she said, heading for the door. My heart stopped. She was taking Grace. I stepped forward. You're not leaving with her, I said, my voice shaking but firm. Rachel glared at me. You can't stop me, she said. Michael grabbed her arm. Rachel, stay, he said, his voice raw. We're figuring this out. She pulled away, but Grace started crying, and Rachel hesitated. I knelt beside Grace, my heart aching. It's okay, sweetheart, I whispered, touching her hand. Rachel yanked her back, but Michael stepped between us. Mom, take Grace to her room, he said. I scooped her up, tears streaming as I held her close. In her nursery, I rocked her, singing softly, my voice trembling. She calmed, her tiny hand gripping my finger. I heard Michael and Rachel arguing downstairs, their voices rising. How could you do this? Michael yelled. Mom gave us everything. Rachel's voice was cold. You don't get it, Michael. We needed more. I clutched Grace, fear mixing with hope. Was Michael finally seeing the truth? I called Karen from the nursery, whispering. Rachel's fighting with Michael, I said. She might run with Grace. Karen was urgent. Stay with the baby. We're outside. Minutes later, I heard a car door slam. I looked out the window. Rachel was getting into Stephen's SUV, her face furious. My heart raced. I ran downstairs, Grace in my arms. Michael, she's leaving, I said. He ran outside, but the SUV sped off. Michael sank to his knees, tears falling. Mom, I'm sorry, he said. I didn't know. I knelt beside him, Grace between us, my heart breaking. We'll get through this, I said, my voice steady despite the pain. For Grace. That night, Karen came to the house. We're tracking Rachel and Stephen, she said. They won't get far. Margaret, you saved Grace tonight. I held my granddaughter, tears falling. I'd lost Michael's trust for a while, but I'd fought for him and Grace. I wasn't stepping aside. I was standing taller than ever. I held Grace close in Michael's living room, her soft breathing calming my racing heart. The image of Rachel speeding off with Stephen Carter in his SUV was burned into my mind, her cold glare a reminder of how far she'd gone to push me out. Michael sat on the couch, his head in his hands, tears streaking his face. My son, who I'd raised to be kind and strong, looked broken. At 67, I'd never felt pain like this. Rachel's betrayal, her whisper at Grace's baptism telling me to step aside, and now her attempt to run from the truth. I'd fought to protect Grace, uncovering Rachel's scam with Stephen to steal my apartment, but seeing Michael so lost hurt almost as much. I touched his shoulder, my voice soft. "We'll get through this, Michael," I said. "You and me for Grace." He looked up, his eyes red. "Mom, I failed you both," he said, his voice cracking. I shook my head, tears falling. "You didn't know. But we're here now." Detective Karen Holt stood by the door, her face grim. "Rachel and Stephen won't get far," she said. "We've got an alert out for his SUV. Margaret, you did good keeping Grace safe." I nodded, clutching my granddaughter, but fear lingered. What if Rachel came back? I looked at Michael. "Why didn't you see it?" I asked, my voice trembling. "Rachel was lying, and I was begging you to listen." He wiped his eyes. "I thought she was stressed, Mom. I trusted her. I didn't want to lose my family." My heart ached. I'd almost lost mine too. But Grace's weight in my arms kept me grounded. Karen stepped forward. "Michael, we need your help," she said. "Anything you know about Rachel's work with Stephen, texts, emails, anything." Michael nodded, his voice low. "I'll check her laptop." While Michael went upstairs, I rocked Grace, her tiny hand gripping my finger. I whispered, "Grandma's got you, sweetheart." Tears falling as I remembered her baptism. The day Rachel's whisper shattered my world. Karen sat beside me. "Margaret, you're strong," she said. "But this isn't over. Stephen's company is big and Rachel's in deep." I swallowed hard. "What about Grace?" I asked. "Can I keep her safe?" Karen's eyes softened. "We're working on temporary custody for you," she said. "Michael's cooperation helps. Stay close to him." I nodded, but my heart was heavy. I'd fought so hard, but Rachel's lies had torn us apart. Michael came back, holding Rachel's laptop, his face pale. "I found emails," he said, his voice shaking. "Rachel and Stephen were planning to sell your apartment, Mom. They forged your signature, saying you were unfit to own it." My stomach dropped. Unfit? I'd given them everything, love, time, money, and they'd twisted it to steal from me. I looked at Grace, sleeping in my arms. How could she do this? I said, tears streaming. Michael knelt beside me, his voice breaking. "I'm so sorry, Mom. I should have listened." I touched his face, my heart torn between pain and love. "Help us now," I said. "For Grace." He nodded, handing the laptop to Karen. "There's more," he said. "They mentioned a meeting tomorrow. Some big deal." Karen's eyes lit up. "This could be our chance," she said. "If we catch them at this meeting, we've got them." I felt a chill. "What if they come for Grace?" I asked. Karen was firm. "We'll put you in a safe house tonight," she said. "You, Michael, and Grace." Michael looked at me, his eyes pleading. "Mom, come with us," he said. "I need you." My heart swelled. For the first time in months, my son was choosing me. I nodded, tears falling. "I'm here," I said. That night, we packed a few things and drove to a small house on the edge of Seattle, police cars trailing us. Grace slept in my arms, unaware of the danger. Michael sat beside me, his hand on mine. "I won't let you down again," he whispered. I squeezed his hand, hoping it was true. At the safe house, I tucked Grace into a crib, my heart heavy. I couldn't sleep, so I sat with Karen, who was planning the sting. "We'll have undercover officers at the meeting," she said. "If Rachel and Stephen show, we'll grab them." I nodded, but my hands shook. "What if they know we're onto them?" I asked. Karen's voice was calm. "We're ready, Margaret. You just keep Grace safe." The next morning, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Give us the house, or Grace disappears." My heart stopped. I showed Karen, tears falling. They're not stopping, I said, my voice trembling. She grabbed the phone. We're desperate, she said. This helps us trace them. Stay strong. But fear gripped me as I held Grace, her innocent smile breaking my heart. I called Joan, needing her voice. They're threatening Grace again, I said, crying. I'm so scared, Joan. She was fierce. Margaret, you've come too far to back down. You're saving Grace, and I'm so proud of you. Keep going. Her words steadied me. Then Michael came in, his face grim. Mom, I found a voicemail on Rachel's phone, he said. It's Stephen, saying they're moving the meeting to tonight. They're scared. My heart raced. Tonight? I showed Karen, who nodded. We're ready, she said. But Margaret, you need to stay here. I clutched Grace, my voice firm. I'm going, I said. I need to see Rachel face her. Karen hesitated, then agreed. Only if you stay with an officer, she said. That evening, I left Grace with Michael at the safe house, my heart tearing as I kissed her goodbye. Keep her safe, I told him, tears in my eyes. He hugged me tight. I will, Mom. I'm sorry for everything. I drove with Karen to a warehouse where the meeting was set, my hands shaking. Undercover officers were everywhere, hidden in the shadows. Then I saw her, Rachel, stepping out of Stephen's SUV, her face tense. My heart pounded as I stepped forward, an officer beside me. Rachel. I called, my voice steady despite the fear. She froze, her eyes wide. Margaret? What are you doing here? She said. I held up my phone, showing the forged deed. I know everything, I said, tears falling. You tried to steal my home. You threatened Grace. Stephen stepped forward, his voice cold. Back off, old lady, he said. But before he could move, officers swarmed in, cuffing them both. Rachel screamed. This is your fault, Margaret. But I stood tall, my heart breaking but strong. I stood frozen in the warehouse lot, my heart pounding as police hauled Rachel and Stephen Carter away in handcuffs. Rachel's scream. This is your fault, Margaret. Echoed in my ears, tearing at my soul. At 67, I'd faced pain before, but nothing like watching my daughter-in-law, who I'd loved like family, betray me. Her whisper at Grace's baptism, telling me to step aside, had started this nightmare, and now I'd uncovered her scam with Stephen to steal my apartment. Tears streamed down my face as I clutched my phone. The photo of the forged deed, proof of their lies. I'd protected Grace, but my heart ached for Michael, my son, who'd trusted Rachel blindly. Detective Karen Holt touched my arm. You're brave, Margaret, she said. They're done. I nodded, my voice trembling. Is Grace safe? Karen's eyes softened. She's with Michael. Let's go. Driving to the safe house, I felt the weight of everything. Rachel's betrayal, Michael's doubt, the moment I faced her with the truth. My hands shook, but holding Grace was all I wanted. At the safe house, Michael opened the door, Grace in his arms, his face wet with tears. Mom, he said, his voice breaking, and hugged me tight. I took Grace, her tiny hand grabbing my finger, and sobbed. I'm here, sweetheart. I whispered, her warmth easing my pain. Michael sank onto a chair, his eyes hollow. I'm so sorry, Mom, he said. I didn't see it. I sat beside him, Grace between us, my heart torn. You loved her, I said, tears falling. But we've got Grace now. He looked at me, his voice raw. I don't deserve you, Mom. Karen sat across from us, her voice steady. Rachel and Stephen are in custody, she said. We've got them on fraud and extortion, thanks to your evidence, Margaret. Michael, those emails you found were key. Michael nodded, but his hands shook. How did I let this happen? He said, tears spilling. She was planning to take your home, Mom. I trusted her. My chest ached for him, my boy who'd lost his wife to greed. I touched his hand. We'll heal together, I said. For Grace. But Karen's phone buzzed, and her face darkened. There's a complication, she said. Stephen's got a partner, Ellen Hayes. She's still out there, and she knows you exposed them. My heart sank. Another enemy? I held Grace tighter, fear creeping in. That night, I stayed up, watching Grace sleep in her crib. Her peaceful face reminded me of Michael as a baby, when I'd promised to always protect him. Now I'd failed him, letting Rachel's lies tear us apart. Tears fell as I thought of her whisper at the baptism. The moment I'd lost my place, Michael joined me, his voice low. "Mom, I found something else," he said, holding a notebook from Rachel's bag. "It's got Ellen Hayes's name, meeting times, addresses." My heart raced. I opened it, finding a list of properties, including my apartment, marked priority. One note chilled me. "If Stephen fails, Ellen takes over." I showed Karen, my voice trembling. "They're not done," I said. She nodded. "This is gold, Margaret. Ellen's running the scam now. We'll track her." The next morning, I called Joan, needing her strength. "They caught Rachel, but now there's this Ellen Hayes," I said, my voice breaking. "She's after us." Joan's voice was fierce. "Margaret, you've faced worse. You saved Grace and you'll beat this. I'm praying for you." Her words lit a spark in me, but fear lingered. Karen took us back to Michael's house, an officer posted outside. "We're hunting Ellen," she said. "Stay alert." I nodded, rocking Grace, her smile keeping me grounded. Michael looked at me, his eyes soft. "Mom, you're my hero," he said, tears falling. I hugged him, my heart swelling. "We're a team now," I said, my voice steady despite the pain. That afternoon, I found a letter taped to the front door. My hands shook as I opened it. "You ruined everything, Margaret. You'll regret it." No signature, but I knew it was Ellen. I showed Karen, tears streaming. "She's watching us," I said, my voice trembling. Karen's face hardened. "She's desperate," she said. "We're close to her." But my heart raced when my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Grace isn't safe." Attached was a photo of Grace in her stroller at the grocery store, taken yesterday. My knees buckled, and Michael caught me. "Mom, what's wrong?" he said. I showed him, sobbing. "They're after her," I said. Karen grabbed the phone. "We're moving you again," she said. "Now." As we packed, Grace clung to me, sensing my fear. I sang to her, my voice cracking, promising to protect her. Michael carried her bag, his face fierce. "No one's touching her," he said. At the new safe house, a small cabin outside Seattle, I tucked Grace in, tears falling. Michael sat beside me, his hand on mine. "Mom, I'll fix this," he said. I nodded, but my heart was heavy. Ellen's threat was real, and I'd fight with everything I had to keep Grace safe. I wasn't stepping aside. I was standing stronger than ever. I sat in the cabin's dim living room, clutching Grace as her soft snores filled the silence. The photo of her in the stroller, sent with the threat "Grace isn't safe," haunted me. At 67, I'd never felt such fear. Not when I lost my husband John. Not when Rachel's whisper at Grace's baptism cut me deep. Now Ellen Hayes, Stephen Carter's partner in the scam to steal my apartment, was after us. Rachel and Stephen were in jail, but Ellen's letter taped to Michael's door. "You'll regret it." And the photo proved she was close. My heart ached as I looked at Michael, asleep on the couch, his face worn from guilt. He'd trusted Rachel, and I'd fought to show him her lies, but now we faced a new enemy. I whispered to Grace, "Grandma's got you." Tears falling, vowing to protect her no matter what. The next morning, Detective Karen Holt arrived, her face grim. "We're tracking Ellen," she said. "The photo's from a store camera, but she's good at hiding." I held Grace tighter, my voice trembling. "She's after my baby," I said. Karen's eyes softened. "We're closing in, Margaret. You've given us enough to take down Stephen's network. But Ellen's desperate." Michael woke, his voice rough. "What do we do?" he asked. Karen handed him a phone. "We traced the text to a burner, but Rachel's talking in jail. She says Ellen's got a safe deposit box with more evidence." My heart raced. Evidence. I looked at Michael. "We need that box," I said. He nodded, his eyes fierce. "For Grace." Karen drove us to a bank where Rachel said the box was. An officer guarding Grace in the car. My hands shook as we approached the counter. "We need access to Ellen Hayes's safe deposit box," Karen said, showing a warrant. The clerk hesitated, then led us to a vault. Inside the box were papers, more forged deeds, including one for my apartment, and a list of other seniors targeted. My stomach twisted. But then I saw a photo. Ellen with Rachel, smiling, and a note. "If I go down, you do too." My heart stopped. Rachel wasn't just a pawn. She'd planned this with Ellen from the start. I showed Karen, tears falling. Rachel lied to us all, I said. Michael's face crumpled. How could I love her? He whispered. Back at the cabin, I rocked Grace, my heart heavy. Michael sat beside me, his voice breaking. Mom, I'm so sorry, he said. I let her hurt you. I touched his face, tears streaming. You're here now, I said. That's what matters. But then Karen's phone rang, and her face paled. Ellen's been spotted, she said. She's in Seattle and she's not alone. My blood ran cold. Who's with her? I asked. Karen hesitated. Rachel's sister, Claire, she said. She's been off our radar, but Rachel mentioned her in questioning. I froze. Claire? I'd met her once at the wedding, her smile cold like Rachel's. Was she part of this too? That afternoon, I found a package on the cabin's porch, my name scrawled on it. My hands shook as I opened it, a stuffed bear like Grace's with a note. Next time it's her. I screamed, dropping it, and Michael ran out. Mom, what's wrong? He said, seeing the bear. I showed him the note, sobbing. They're everywhere, I said. Karen bagged it, her voice urgent. Ellen's taunting us, she said. We're moving you again. I clung to Grace, my voice trembling. When does this end? I said. Michael hugged me, his eyes fierce. It ends when we stop them, he said. But my heart sank as I saw a car slow by the cabin, its windows dark. Was it Ellen? Claire? I called Joan, needing her voice. They sent a bear, Joan, I said, crying. They're after Grace. Joan's voice was sharp. Margaret, you're the strongest woman I know. Don't let them scare you. Protect that baby. Her words steadied me, but fear gripped me. That evening, Michael found a hidden file on Rachel's laptop, missed before. It was a video, Rachel and Claire talking in a cafe, laughing about easy marks like me. Claire said, if Margaret fights, Ellen handles her. My heart broke. Rachel's own sister was in on it. I showed Karen, tears falling. Claire's helping Ellen, I said. Karen nodded. This changes everything. We're setting a trap for them tomorrow. The next morning, my phone buzzed with a voicemail from Claire. Margaret, you're making this hard, she said, her voice icy. Meet me at Pike Place Market alone or Grace isn't safe. My hands shook as I played it for Karen. It's a setup, she said. But we'll use it. My heart raced. I'm going, I said, tears in my eyes. For Grace. Michael grabbed my hand. Mom, it's too dangerous, he said. I looked at him, my voice firm. I've lost enough, I said. I won't lose her. Karen agreed, wiring me with a recorder. At the market, I stood by a fish stall, my heart pounding. Claire appeared, her eyes cold. You're stubborn, Margaret, she said. Give us the apartment and we're done. I held her gaze, tears falling. You threatened my granddaughter, I said. You're finished. Officers moved in, grabbing her, but she laughed. Ellen's still out there, she said. I stood in the bustling Pike Place Market, my heart still racing from Claire's cold laugh as the police cuffed her. Ellen's still out there, she'd said, her words a chilling reminder that the danger wasn't over. At 67, I'd faced Rachel's betrayal, uncovered her scam with Stephen Carter to steal my apartment, and now dealt with her sister Claire's threats against Grace. The memory of Rachel's whisper at Grace's baptism, maybe it's time you step aside, felt like a lifetime ago, but it had sparked my fight to protect my granddaughter. Tears stung my eyes as I thought of Grace's smile. The stuffed bear left on the cabin porch with a note threatening her. Ellen Hayes, Stephen's partner, was the last piece of this nightmare, and I wasn't backing down. Detective Karen Holt pulled me aside, her voice low. You were brave, Margaret, she said. Claire's in custody, but we need Ellen. I nodded, my voice trembling. I just want Grace safe. Back at the new safe house, a small cabin nestled in the woods, I held Grace tight, her warmth easing my fear. Michael sat beside me, his face pale, guilt etched in his eyes. Mom, I can't believe Claire was part of this, he said, his voice breaking. I touched his hand, tears falling. You couldn't have known, I said. But we're together now for Grace. He hugged me, his voice raw. I'm so sorry I doubted you. Grace babbled, reaching for me, and my heart swelled with love, but the photo of her in the stroller, sent by Ellen, haunted me. I looked at Karen, who was studying Claire's phone. Did she give up Ellen? I asked. Karen shook her head. Not yet, she said. But we found a text from Ellen, telling Claire to clean up the mess. She's planning something. My stomach twisted. I called Joan, needing her strength. Claire's caught, but Ellen's still out there, I said, my voice trembling. She's after Grace. Joan's voice was fierce. Margaret, you've faced them all. Rachel, Stephen, Claire. You'll beat Ellen too. Keep fighting for that baby. Her words steadied me, but fear lingered. That afternoon, Karen showed us a map. Ellen's been linked to a storage unit downtown, she said. We think she's hiding evidence there. Margaret, can you come with us to identify anything tied to your apartment? My heart raced. What about Grace? I asked. Michael squeezed my hand. I'll stay with her, he said. You go, Mom. I nodded, tears in my eyes, kissing Grace's forehead before leaving. At the storage facility, my hands shook as Karen's team opened Ellen's unit. Inside were boxes of files, forged deeds, bank records, and photos of seniors, including me, taken outside my apartment. My heart stopped when I saw a letter addressed to me. You should have stepped aside. I showed Karen, tears falling. She was watching me, I said. Then I found a notebook with a list of final targets, my name circled, and a chilling note. Use the kid if she fights. My knees buckled. She's planning to take Grace, I said, sobbing. Karen's face hardened. This is enough for a warrant, she said. We're close, Margaret. But as we left, my phone buzzed with a voicemail from an unknown number. You're too late, a woman's voice said. Ellen, I was sure. Check your car. My heart stopped. I ran to the parking lot, finding an envelope under my wiper. Inside was a photo of Grace and Michael at the safe house, taken through a window that morning. A note read, I'm closer than you think. I screamed, dropping it, and Karen grabbed it. She's here, I said, tears streaming. She's watching Grace. Karen radioed her team, her voice urgent. Get to the safe house now. We sped back, my heart pounding, praying Grace was safe. At the cabin, Michael met us at the door, Grace in his arms, unharmed. What's wrong? He said, seeing my face. I showed him the photo, sobbing. Ellen's watching us, I said. He held me tight, his voice fierce. No one's taking her, Mom. Karen searched the woods, finding nothing, but my fear grew. That night, I couldn't sleep, sitting by Grace's crib, her tiny hand in mine. I thought of her baptism. The joy I'd felt holding her, now tainted by Rachel's lies and Ellen's threats. Michael joined me, his voice low. Mom, I found something on Claire's phone, he said, showing me a deleted text from Ellen. Meet me at the old mill tomorrow. Bring the kid. My blood ran cold. Was Ellen planning to kidnap Grace? I showed Karen, my voice trembling. She's making her move, I said. Karen nodded. We'll be there, she said. Margaret, you've got to stay here. I shook my head, tears falling. I'm going, I said. I need to end this. The next morning, I left Grace with Michael and an officer, my heart breaking as I kissed her goodbye. I'll be back, sweetheart, I whispered. At the abandoned mill, Karen wired me with a recorder, officers hidden nearby. My hands shook as I waited, the air thick with dust. Then I saw her, Ellen, stepping out of a car, her face cold. Margaret, she said, her voice sharp. You're persistent. I held her gaze, tears in my eyes. You threatened my granddaughter, I said. It's over. She laughed, pulling a folder from her bag. Sign this and Grace is safe, she said, tossing me a fake deed from my apartment. My heart raced. You're done, I said, and officers moved in, cuffing her. But Ellen smirked. You missed one, she said. My heart stopped. Who? I stood in the dusty mill, my heart pounding as officers cuffed Ellen Hayes, her smirk chilling me. Her words, you missed one, rang in my ears, a final taunt that the danger to Grace wasn't over. At 67, I'd fought Rachel's betrayal, uncovered her scam with Stephen Carter to steal my apartment, and faced her sister Claire's threats. Ellen, the last piece of their network, was caught, but her cryptic warning shook me. Tears fell as I thought of Grace, my granddaughter, whose safety had driven me since Rachel's whisper at her baptism. Maybe it's time you step aside. I'd refused to back down, protecting Grace at every turn. But now I feared someone else was out there. Detective Karen Holt grabbed my arm. "Margaret, we've got her," she said. "Let's get you to Grace." I nodded, my voice trembling. "Who's left?" Karen's face was grim. "We're checking. Stay with Michael." Driving back to the safe house, my hands shook, Ellen's smirk haunting me. I clutched a photo of Grace, her smile my anchor. At the cabin, Michael met me at the door, Grace in his arms, his face pale. "Mom, you okay?" he said, hugging me. I took Grace, her warmth easing my fear, and sobbed. "Ellen's caught," I said, "but she said we missed someone." Michael's eyes widened. "Who?" he said, his voice breaking. I shook my head, tears falling. "I don't know, but we're keeping Grace safe." Karen joined us, her voice urgent. "We're searching Ellen's contacts," she said. "Rachel's talking more and Claire's scared. We'll find out." I held Grace tighter, her babbling grounding me, but my heart raced. Was it over? That night, I sat by Grace's crib, watching her sleep. Her tiny hand curled around my finger, and I thought of her baptism, the joy I'd felt sewing her gown, now tainted by Rachel's cruelty. Michael sat beside me, his voice low. "Mom, I found something," he said, holding a flash drive from Rachel's bag missed before. It was hidden in her laptop case. My heart raced as we plugged it into Karen's laptop. A file opened. A video of Ellen and a man named Paul Reed, discussing cleaning up after Rachel's arrest. Paul said, "Margaret's the problem. Take the kid, and she'll sign anything." My blood ran cold. Paul was the one Ellen meant. I showed Karen, tears streaming. "He's after Grace," I said. Karen's face hardened. "Paul Reed's a fixer for their scams," she said. "We'll get him." The next morning, Karen got a lead. Paul was hiding in a motel near Tacoma. "We're setting a trap," she said. "Margaret, stay here with Grace." But my heart wouldn't let me. "I need to see this end," I said, tears in my eyes. Michael nodded. "I'm coming too," he said. "For you, Mom." We left Grace with Joan, who'd driven up, her hug fierce. "You're a warrior, Margaret," she said. "Finish this." At the motel, Karen wired me again. Officers surrounding the place. My hands shook as I knocked on Paul's door, pretending to negotiate. "I'll sign the deed," I said when he opened it, his eyes narrow. "Just leave Grace alone." He smirked, stepping aside. "Smart move," he said. But before he could speak, officers stormed in, cuffing him. Paul glared at me. "You'll never be safe," he said, but I stood tall, tears falling. "You're wrong," I said. "Grace is mine." Back at the safe house, I held Grace, sobbing with relief. Karen called. Paul was in custody, and his arrest cracked the scam wide open. "You did it, Margaret," she said. "The network's done." Michael hugged me, his voice raw. "Mom, I'm so proud," he said. "I was blind, but you saved us." I touched his face, tears streaming. "We saved each other," I said. The next day, Karen came with news. "Rachel's facing years in prison," she said. "She wants to see you, Margaret." My heart twisted. I went to the jail, my hands shaking. Rachel sat behind glass, her face pale. "I'm sorry," she said, tears falling. "I got greedy. I never meant to hurt Grace." My chest ached. "You broke us," I said, my voice steady. "But Grace is safe, and I forgive you, for me, not you." She nodded, crying, and I left feeling lighter. We moved to a new house in Seattle, me, Michael, and Grace. I got full custody, my heart swelling as I watched her play. Michael started therapy, healing from Rachel's lies, and we grew closer, rebuilding our family. I joined a group for seniors scammed by fraud, sharing my story. I was pushed aside, I'd say, but I fought back. "You can too." Their nods gave me purpose. One day, Grace ran to me with a drawing, a house with 3 stick figures labeled Grandma, Daddy, me. "We're home," she said, her smile bright. I hugged her, tears falling. "Yes, sweetheart," I said. "We are." The final twist came months later. Karen called. "We found a bank account tied to Ellen," she said. "Your stolen funds were there. It's yours now." I used it for Grace's future and to help the senior group, turning pain into hope. The moral was clear. Family is built on love, not lies, and strength comes from fighting for those you cherish. Grace was my proof, and I was hers.